Alrighty guys, for those of you who are familiar with my channel, you know I've made map making tutorials a lot, and you know I do a lot of games, a lot of TTRPGs. I've run and streamed recordings of Tomb of Annihilation, Dawn of Defiance from Star Wars. I've done a couple of tutorials. The one I want to touch on today was the World 20 tutorial that I made on maps. I learned this map making tutorial from another YouTuber who was fantastic in helping me, and if I can find it, I'll put his link down in the description. Because go over there, check him out, thumbs up, bell, the whole bit. But anyway, it's been a while since I've uploaded anything Roll20 related. So one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to touch on how I make map maps. Now I know in a previous video I uploaded ideas how to use tile sets, how to maneuver them, and then how to basically use the advanced lighting feature that Roll20 gets from their pro members, or their paid membership. But one of the things I found out really quickly is that I started to run out of space. Unless you buy their tile sets on their page, you have to use your own storage that you get. They give everybody based on your subscriber limit, and if you're a non-paid member, I don't judge you. I pay for it because I really enjoy it and I have the money. But if you want to go the free route, you don't get a lot of space to store your stuff. It's a few hundred megabytes here and there. I think it's more than that, but I'll have to get those exact numbers. If anyone knows, can you comment them down in the comments? That way we'll know. But long story short, it's not a lot, and it'll fill up really quickly with different art assets, tokens, things you're making for your content, as well as things you're making for your campaign, music, so on and so forth. And with Roll20's new edition, they're planning on making a custom music uploader, so that's going to take up space too, and that's going to go through very fast. And because it's shared across all of your campaigns, you will run out very quickly if you're like me, who's put more than 2,000-3,000 hours into their DMing. Now, with that stated, space becomes an issue. And one of the ways you can cut down on space, as well as helping your, not so Goddarnet styled players, is to cut down on the amount of assets on screen. And to do that, I actually want to bring up a really cool program I've been using for about the last year, and I've fallen in love with it. And it's called Dungeon Painter Studio. And you can get it on Steam. You can buy it directly from pyromancers.com. And if you're familiar with my previous video, you'll know I fell in love with pyromancers from the moment I found them. This is their original website, Dungeon Painter Studio. It's pyromancers.com, and you can just do Dungeon Painter Studio online. Now, here's the cool part. You don't have to buy their Dungeon Painter Studio through Steam. You can do their Dungeon Painter online. And if you paid attention to one of my previous videos, I think I actually touched on this a bit, and I showed how to make a map in it, not using tile sets, and so on and so forth. But it's very slow. It's a very big pain in my literal rump. So one of the things I wanted to touch on, especially because this is also very buggy, it bugs out a lot, especially if you have low Java memory, or if you don't have a high-end system. This can become very bogged down very quickly because it is an in-browser thing. Now that out of the way, I want to touch on this. This is the Dungeon Painter Studio, if that makes sense. And it's really easy to use. I want it so much so I actually want to do a quick tutorial with it. This is one of my new favorite things, and the cool part is if you get this through Steam, like I did, you can actually get community content. So I have a lot of custom tile sets that come with this program, but the cool part is while you can come in here, this becomes your new Roll20 asset holder. And you use your local system for it and then upload an image. And I'm going to show you what that's kind of like. So starting off, we're just going to come down here, and don't mind my different tile sets. All these are not owned by me. I didn't make any of these. These are all ones I got from the community. So go on Steam, give props to the respective people. Purchase some of them if you want. But basically, you select through what you want. You want ground floors, you want to build something, choose out your different textures. In this case, let's do the default. Everyone loves caves, right? Let's do a little cave. So we'll just click drag out. If you look, you can see that there's a number next to our thing. That is actually our grid, how much of the grid this is taking up. So we're going to do 25 by 25, which is the default map size for every Roll20 page. And if you're using anything else, Fantasy Grounds, whatever, this will work with those. So don't be afraid to purchase this and be like, yeah, Nova Bro, this isn't gonna work. I don't use Roll20, I use Fantasy Grounds, I use DM Forge, I use this, I use that. It will work, and I'll show you. For now, let's get down to the grindy aspects. So we just made the ground, and I'm not going to do a lot. I just wanted to show you can do it with that. Now, one of the things I like to do is I like to do the cave walls, and this is another texture tile set I already have. I got from the community as well. This is not one I've made or anything like that. And basically, we're just going to come in here. We're going to click drag out a wall. Boop, done. It's that simple. Click drag. It's not. This isn't even click drag. This is click, 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 click. So now we're all boxed in. We'll come over here, and we'll make a little hallway here. Oh, that's not going to work. Hold on. Control Z. This does work very much similar to the Photoshop tools. So you can use a lot of the custom commands you're already used to, and it won't actually hurt you any. So now we're basically gonna make this like a spiral. Think of it kind of like one of those puzzles you get from or a hedge maze or anything. We're just gonna be like, alright. So we're gonna hedge maze this in, yeah, and we're gonna hedge maze this in. Ooh, I don't want to do that. So we're gonna do that. Not quite that much. You can tell I'm having a lot of trouble with this right now, and I don't know why. It's just being a butt. But we're gonna keep going. It's gonna hedge maze. It's gonna hedge maze. I can't speak today. Wow. But we are gonna hedge maze this in. We're just gonna do a little design here to make it. I want to go for perfection. I'm a perfectionist. But this is kind of like killing me right now. Okay, there we go. So, general design. Nothing major. Most players can kind of follow this general design. Nothing super fancy. Just walk down the hall, walk down the hall, walk down the hall, and you get to whatever's right here. Nothing major. And the cool part is, over here we have the standard layers you're familiar with. Photoshop, you can drag and drop them, move them around, no problem. This being the cave floor, you can rename them. This works, like I said, very similar to things like Photoshop, like GIMP, like Paint Tool Size, so it's really cool that you can use it. It's very functional and it's sturdy, and I haven't when it first came out, it was hit or miss on some of the bugs, but it wasn't too terrible. So but with that said, we're just going to kind of keep going. We're going to make it work. So I'm going to shift select all of these. I'm going to group them really quick because this is one of the cool things I want to show you about it. It has built-in effects. You can make your own, create a new preset, so on and so forth. And this is the cool thing, is the only downside is these don't stack. So it's like apply, apply, apply. They take each other off. So if you want one, you gotta make it. But I'm gonna do a long shadow, maybe? Yeah, let's do long shadow. So this looks like it's an actual cave, And we'll do back grid. I'm actually gonna I'll leave the back grid on so we can actually see what we're working with here. So you have the cave floor, which is in the background. Got that. Something else we're gonna add in just for shits and giggles. We're gonna just do some effect packs here. Let's make a no, let's not do that. Let's go in the fantasy mapping pack. Is there anything in there we can use? No, it's not wanting to. So let's do the search feature. Search feature, instead of searching through each individual pack, lets us do something. So we're gonna search. Let's search chest. just put a little chest right here in the middle, and that way, when our adventurers go through the whole thing, they can get a nice little treat. And there it is. You get scaling, rotational values, everything. Just drop that in there. So that's it. That's all it is. There's nothing fancy about it. Nothing super difficult. We can add in stair textures. I have a bunch of different types of stairs and stair textures. It's really cool. Different things. We're gonna just max that scale out. So I can make this look. I can make these have scales. Unlock scale. These will be little stairs coming down. And like I say, it's very Photoshoppy. So just like you'd expect, there's a little bit of stairs going on. Nothing too major. Okay. So here is where the cool stuff. So this is a map. This is ready to go. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you'd know this would have taken forever. We're talking 30 minutes of work that I just made out like it was nothing. None of this copy pasting the texture around. Just click, go, click, go, click, go. And it's literally like putting stickers in a children's game. It's great. And it doesn't have to be this small either. You can do massive maps. I've done a few here and there. Cancel. Sorry. I've done a few here and there, and they're all fantastic. So, but once you're done, you've come to the point where you're ready to go. You're ready to get it in your engine. You're gonna come over here to export to JPEG or PNG. We're going to turn off our coordinates, unless you want the coordinates on there. If you're doing more of a postboard style campaign and it's knight to a5 kind of thing. I mean, that would put you in a wall, but we won't talk about that. You can turn off the grid if you just want a more realistic looking campaign. Leave it on if you want it on. Roll20 has default grid system in it. And with this, because this has, as you can see at the bottom, the presets for Fantasy Grounds, D20 Pro, Battlegrounds, U-Realms, Maximum, the whole bit. So you can really, and you can even fine tune it if you know what the pixels are on the squares, and if you don't know, you can always ask the companies. They're usually pretty upfront about their grid sizes. If not, then I don't know what to tell you. But for the most part, we're going to take off the grid. We're going to use Roll20's preset, which is 70 pixels, so we're good to go. You can create a PNG. Here's what I want to tell you though. If you create a PNG, the file gains transparency and is larger. So for size purposes, because I'm using the entirety of the map, I'm not worried about little hidden edges and stuff. I haven't created any like oceans or anything that I want to hang off the edge. I'm just going to create a JPEG. That way the file size is a lot smaller, and when I import it directly into Roll20, it won't be as big a deal. So I'm just going to hide this somewhere. This is assets I've created over time for a completely different style of campaign. We won't talk about that. Desktop, we're going to go D&D campaigns. You can see I've run Curse of Strahd, Fatal campaigns, all kinds of things. So we won't get into too much of these. We're just going to drop this right into the 5e character sheets for right now. The reason behind that is I need to come over here, and I have a custom area set up. And if you guys want to know how I get mine to look like this, by all means message me, and I will be glad to help you out with this. But as you can see, default size for these maps are 25 by 25, 5-foot scale. So we are going to bring that image we showed you earlier in here. We're going to go desktop. We're going to go AD&D campaigns. We're going to go and say 5e character sheets. And we're going to drag in that map. And you can see it comes up 25 by 25. We're going to drop that in here. And there it is. Under advanced, set dimensions, units, 25 by 25, and the map is good to go. Like, that is all it took. Map is in there and is ready to roll, and you could come in here and I'll just pull out one of my little tokens I've made over time, and you can kind of see now that the scale for it is pretty good. We'll just do 10 by 10, and there you go. And the textures are all designed to work together. They overlay nicely, as you can see, and you can easily play through this. No mas, no fuss. Anyway, that is my Roll20 tutorial for this. This is a really big cave. That's a really big chest. Would not surprise me if that's some kind of it would not surprise me if that's like some kind of mimic. But anyway, that's the general design I wanted to show you guys. If you guys want it, by all means, head on over, get Pyromancers. It's fantastic. There's no reason not to, honestly. Just, you know, head right over there, get it, and yeah, enjoy it. You know, make your content. Anyway, that's all I have for today, and until next time, Nova out.